This video is proudly supported by RM Risk Management, providing a comprehensive range of services tailored to UK property managers. Visit rmriskmanagement.co.uk to ensure a secure tomorrow. Hello and welcome back to the Blues Focus podcast with me, Tommy Kelsall, and Sam Sheppy. Hello, mate. How are you?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Nice to see you at the Wycombe game, and nice to see 3 points on the board as well in the league.
Absolutely, our first win in League One this season. 3 goals from Alfie May, Willem Williamson, and Luke Harris as well. We're going to be trying out a new format for the podcast, or at least the match reactions for the podcast. So if you like this, be sure to drop a like down below, and be sure to let us know in the comments whether you like this format. And then for bigger podcasts, talking about more rounded things and things that have been happening over the week, we'll use like a wider format. We'll probably use some live streams for that. But yeah, whilst we're at it, Sam, let's talk about the Wycombe game. So 3 points on the board. A very well thought out 3 points, I reckon, in the end as well. But what were your main focus points on that game?
I'd say the main focus point is going into that Wycombe game. It was one of those ones where people were a little bit wary, weren't they, about what was going to happen, because you feel the clubs like Wycombe are the proper test for League One, aren't they? With that style of football and I guess the physicality of it and what people from the outside were saying that Birmingham might struggle with. So looking at that game, they were pretty physical, weren't they, Wycombe? And in terms of how much possession they kept, they were happy without the ball, weren't they? And they really went for that long route style, didn't they? Literally kicking it up straight from the keeper, looking for them latch-ons or whatever, or hitting us on the counter-attack. And that's what they did for the first goal, didn't they? Where they drove down the wing across and then Christian Bielik put it in our net. But then we responded well, showed good character, like what Chris Davies said, with Alfie May getting the equaliser, second goal of, I think, many for this season. He looks to be settling in straight away, which is really positive to see. And then Luke Harris scoring the second goal with a brilliant assist from Yokoyama, just driving at his man, step over, gone, and then in the box. And Luke Harris was there, right place, right time. And then the third goal from Williamson, it was really good to see him score. Unfortunately, he had to come off, didn't he, with his head injury. So hopefully that's all fine. And then conceded late on, Sam Vokes. As soon as he got subbed on, I was saying to my dad, like, he's going to score. Just watch. You know, he's one of those people that we're not. Yeah. We're not fantastic in the air. I don't think we've got an overly tall team, have we? So anything that goes in the box to someone like Sam Vokes, who's so experienced at that kind of play, we are going to get punished. And I mean, they only had 2 shots on target, didn't they? And scored both of them. But on the whole, it was an impressive performance. And attacking wise, we do look good. It's all about that end product with us, isn't it? Getting in the right positions. And we did that on Saturday, but yeah, left it a bit shaky towards the end. It wouldn't be a Blues win, would it, without making it hard for ourselves in the end.
He's an ex-teammate of Lukas Djukovic, Sam Vokes, so we can definitely guarantee where he's learnt that from. But yeah, I feel like you're right with how like our attacking play looks really good at the moment. I feel like the worries we had about the first game and the Ethan Laird couldn't quite get the cross away into the box and make some chances. I think we had that a bit more, particularly with the Luke Harris goal as well. I think Yokoyama just got the idea to get down the wing and beat his man, and I was shouting in the crowd, just beat him, get past him. I was kind of hoping Anderson would do that a couple of moments before that, but he just didn't quite get past him to get the cross in. But the ball back from Yokoyama was fantastic, and Luke Harris, did all these angles to try and get the shot away, and it did just creep under the keeper in the end, which is it's that little bit of luck that we are going to need with those type of moments really this season. But yeah, I think we deserve to win it. I think that the goal we conceded, like you say, was just a bit of a undoing from us really. I think we do look a little bit vulnerable when we're being countered. I feel like we need to keep some players back, particularly Bielik, even though he did stick it in his own net. But I don't know. I don't think you can put much blame on him for that, to be honest. I think it was just a bit misfortunate how he was sort of in that position at the time. But really, I feel like the big error came down from that left-hand side for us. Left-hand side for us, and right-hand side actually, where Ethan Laird should have been. He should have kept hold of that and made sure that no one was there in the first place. But we responded in the perfect way, and I think Laird made up for that error as well for not being there. He got down that right-hand side and beat this man and got the ball in. Bit of a scrappy goal, but who really cares? A goal's a goal. Alfie May on the score sheet as well. That's the type of goals he's going to be getting all season, scrapping in and around the box. The Luke Harris goal was, as we said, very well forced, very well earned and everything. And the third goal as well, like Miyoshi, getting shot away. And that's the one thing that I've been really happy with, like in the last couple of games, really, is the fact that we've been willing to take on some shots. Because last season, I probably bored listeners anyway, but I definitely bored listeners with the fact that I was always banging on about the fact that we'd never shoot in time and never pull the trigger. But in the last couple of games, we only have to bring up Brandon Keller against Charlton to see that one, because like you buy a ticket in the lottery sometimes, and sometimes you win it. And he absolutely won that by a country mile, because that was a fantastic goal that was.
Mm,
And those two games really, that they showed that we can play really controlling football. We can be in the game, we can have possession, and we can win
mm.
games very well as well too. So the more times we pull off a shot, things are going to ricochet it out. Sometimes they'll end up in the back of the net like Luke Harris's goal, or sometimes it'll come back out for Williamson, who can do like some weird Di Canio kick back into the roof of the net. So yeah, it was fantastic really. And obviously, like you said, the goal from Sam Vokes, easily preventable, but turned out to be nothing in the end, because Wycombe just looked a bit too exhausted. I think we've got the fitness. I think we got the fitness boost over many of the teams this season, actually. So, and also the
Mm.
players we bring on as well. I mean, like we brought on Yokoyama towards the end of the game, it's like midway through the second half. You must think, like, if you're the opposition, like that's just murder.
Yeah,
That
having
is
to having
really
to
after you've
face him
been up
one on
against.
one. Yeah,
Mm,
exactly. Like the amount of pace that he's got as well, and the options we've got off the bench as well. Because
yeah, that
me and my
exactly.
dad
Yeah,
were saying it's like for like substitutions, and I think it's a long time since we've had that, where we can bring on players that are similar ability to the ones that we already had on the pitch. And the
yeah,
substitutes, I think, really changed the game for us. Obviously, Williamson coming on, getting a goal, and then Yokoyama getting an assist as well. And what you say about us having an advantage with, our physicality and also like the stamina that we have as well in the team. I think it's because of controlling the game as well, where we're the
yes,
ones that dictate what happens for once, as opposed to Blues teams in the past who've had to sit back and break on the counter or whatever and suffer without
mm,
the ball. But this team looking to really control the game with the ball, and that will
yeah,
ultimately
yeah,
tire the other team. And that's why we got our goals later on, because they just tired completely. And as you said, when they went to 3-2, they just didn't have enough in the tank, did they, to get
mm,
that equaliser? And I think that's because of what we've done on the ball and really suffocating them by making them chase after it, especially in that heat as well. I don't know what you were like in that
yeah.
away end,
Oh,
but
I
it
was
was pretty hot,
roasting.
wasn't it? Yeah.
I don't know what you thought to the ground. I actually really quite liked it. If you watch my vlog,
Yeah.
then you'll see that Jack didn't like the well, he did, but he was just having a
The
joke
area is
about it.
very hilly. That's what I'd say.
Yeah,
We
I
parked up
liked it.
like
Yeah, it
close,
was actually.
closest to the ground, and then we had to walk up and down these hills to get there. But the scenery itself is nice,
Mm,
and yeah, I feel
yeah.
like it's a real kind of taste of what League One's going to be about. Like your dad said it on the vlog,
Mm,
didn't he? Where you walk into the stadium and you realise, right, we're in League One now. That's the
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
stadiums that we're going to be going to. But if we're picking up 3 points these stadiums, I couldn't care less. You know what they look like, as
Exactly,
long as
yeah.
we get the 3 points.
I really liked it. I thought it was a really good old fashioned sort of ground. It had some really nice modern touches to it as well. And obviously the place itself, Wickham and High Wycombe. I couldn't work out if it was West Wickham or High Wycombe. Somebody in the comments might be able to fill me in on that. But yeah, just the area was really nice as well. It felt like you're in a it feels like a different league. Obviously we had like Reading first game, and that was sort of sick and tired of playing Reading throughout the last couple of decades, really. So, like, having someone like Wycombe, because we've never actually been to Wycombe really as like a league team over the last,
Championship, it was
never
COVID,
again.
weren't it? So we
Yeah,
didn't get
exactly.
to go to
Yeah.
that.
It's nice to have that sort of like who we playing this week. So obviously playing Orient next week. We don't know. I don't really know what to expect from that. I don't really never did, I didn't know what to expect from Wycombe as well. So I was really quite impressed with it. For like League One standard in particular, and considering they've only been a league side for a while, so I feel like it was a nice stadium actually. It wasn't too bad, but yeah, it was hot because the roof didn't quite come all the way over, and we were sort of towards the front as well, so it was a
Mm.
bit toasty
Just the
towards the
sun beaming down.
yeah,
And I literally thought the players, and I thought, yeah, these guys must be really fit to run around in this heat and
yeah,
like maintain
exactly.
the levels that they did. So fair play to them. And yeah, 3 points in the end of Leyton Orient next, which is another one of those grounds, isn't it? Like Adams Park, where
Mm.
quite a small bit of character. And my dad's already been saying to me about the last time Blues went to Leyton Orient, Brisbane Road, whatever, back in the
Yeah.
90s. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. What are we expecting from the game then? We expecting a similar performance, or do you think there might be a little bit of maybe a fitness thing that might come into it, maybe, or whether there'll be a
Mm.
bit of a twist in the tail? What do you expect?
I reckon there'll be changes to the team just to like keep it
Mm,
fresh, because with the competition we've got, I don't think there'll be many weeks where we have the same 11 each game. I reckon there will be flexibility to it. I don't know what's happening with Williamson, whether he's out with his head injury now. And I mean, Keshi Anderson, he played a lot of the game, didn't he, against Wycombe and also Charlton as well. He played the 90 minutes there, and he
yeah, I've been
sort of pulled
impressed
up
with him
towards the
lately.
end.
Mm,
Exactly, because I remember he's one of those players that you're saying just like to pull the trigger, and I
mm,
feel like he's not quite at the level as some of the people around him, but I feel like he's going to get there with game time and getting
yeah,
to know the system more and actually learning from the coaching that he's receiving from Chris Davis. So he's someone that I think definitely has potential to be a starter week in week out, and in terms of Leyton Orient, they haven't had the best of starts, had they? Because they conceded late on against Charlton. I think they lost against Bolton as well. So they've had a bit of a rough start, and they'll definitely be looking to impress in front of Birmingham.
Yeah, because it's interesting you heard talk about Keshe Anderson because what is he, 30, 29 years old? So he's had a decent career. He's had a couple of decent spells with other league teams. You know, he did well with Blackpool. Um, and he impressed towards the start of last season. But like I've been saying and how you mentioned just then, like pulling the trigger and those sort of key moments, really, he just needs that little bit extra. And I feel like he will get that, like you say. So I feel like over the next couple of games, I think he should start the games. You know, I think we can bring on players like Yokoyama again. We can perhaps bring on Dembele as well and those type of players, you know, it's just to try
Mm.
and bring them into the game. And I think like Williamson as well, particularly with his head injury or whatever particular injury is at the moment, because I know he went off in the Reading game as well. I don't think that was quite
Mm.
related though. I think that was some
No,
more
no.
muscular injuries. So if we can bring those type of players into the game later on, I think we can start to see a lot of those games like Wycombe, where we, rather than we go a goal down, I reckon we go a goal up and then we kill it off later in the game. You know, so we sort of stall the game a little bit, so we get an early goal, try and keep everything under control for those good solid moments in the game, and then we can kill it off towards the end because they'll just
Mm.
shatter themselves trying to get that, trying to bring the game back into
Mm.
themselves really. So I feel like with Williamson, with Yokoyama, those are like going to be super subs for us this season, and
Yeah, definitely.
we can rotate the teams. Like we can do a lot of experimentation, like how you say.
Because I think Allison's better through the middle as well. That's what I'm
You
taking
reckon?
from
Yeah.
this because I think like when he was at Blackpool, when he done really well there in League One, he was playing through the middle then, and I really feel like
Mm.
he's comfortable playing through the middle as opposed to on the wings. And as you said about different options and that, because the subs that came on Saturday, it was Yokoyama, it was Williamson, it was Keeler, Duke, Samsted towards the end, and was there one more as well? Just
Oh
like
yeah, so yeah, Miyoshi,
mm,
Williamson, Yokoyama, Brandon Keller, Lucas Jukovic, and Samsted. Yeah, yes, we used up pretty
because
much all of our subs actually. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. But there's one thing I'll say, and I don't know if this is correct or not, or what other people think of this, but when Duke came on, it was a bit different, wasn't it, in terms of the press up front? And I think
Mm.
when he came onto the pitch, Chris Davis had probably thought the game was done by then, so he can kind of just like run around, do whatever. But then as they scored their goal, I was really then worried because the ball was coming up to Duke. He wasn't really necessarily winning the knockdowns and the
Mm.
ball was getting away from him. And then there was that one chance, wasn't there, where he kind of got played through one-on-one where he was chasing after the ball. And you just knew he was never going to get there. and
Bless him.
I just don't know. I love him to bits, obviously,
Mm.
club legend, everyone says Duke. But long term this season, I just don't know how he's going to do in this system. I mean, he's great to
Mm.
have around, but I just can't see him, starting really any games, let alone in
Yeah,
League One, like in the
I
league
agree.
itself.
I think he's one of those players who you can't let go out of any decency in your heart because everybody loves him so much. I love him so much. He should retire with us, whether that is at the end of the season or whether he just in sort of the background sort of stuff, like kind of how like George Friend did. But I think he should because he's our player, you know, and that he's had his best moments with us. He scored all of his goals with us. You know, he's had all of his best moments here. And if that is like a couple of sub appearances after Alfie May's ran his heart out, I think I agree with you. I think that his performance wasn't quite up to the standards of what we're expecting with Duke. But you know, the man's been battered about in the championship for the last
Sure
five or
as,
6 years
yeah.
now. So like even if he is still got a little bit in the tank, you know, he's probably just got a bit of wear and tear from, you know, the
Mm.
big bastards of centre backs just tearing into him and all that sort of shit, really, and grabbing hold of his shirt. And referee's not giving it. Still not over that one decision back in 2019. It still pissed me off. That
Wait, which one is that?
which one do you want to choose from of all the
Mm.
choices that Djokovic? Honestly, the amount of times that he's been pulled down and had his shirt ripped and
Mm.
everything, it just annoys me. The worst one's Alvaro Jimenez, though, when he had that big gash in his face when
Jeez,
that one player just crashed into him and no foul apparently.
no.
But yeah, I think there's a few of those players I think though that we can use like those like sub players. But one player I think in particular is going to be the key player moving forward for us all season is Marc Leonard, because his control of the game, his ability on the ball, I think his comfort on the ball as well is something
Mm.
that this team can really depend on this season. you know, his distribution of everything is just like spot on all the time. He reminds me, it's probably because he's number 12 as well, but it's Barry Ferguson. That's who I've got in my mind. He's just got that sort of posture about him where he doesn't look like all or
Both
anything.
Scottish.
And well, both Scottish as well, yeah. I don't know whether they're both the same side of Scotland or anything, whether they're
Mm,
Rangers or Celtic.
mm.
But yeah, I think though that everything goes through him, and Fotmob here scored him a 7.3, which it's kind of what you would expect for that type of player, you know, just in control of everything. I think Pake's a great player to play off with him as well, because the two players were very similar. They both get that style of game. They can have the ball a lot. They're not too worried about losing it. So everything goes through them, and the play that they were making as well, and the opportunities they gave people. Put Alfie May through a couple of times as well, and the distribution out to the wings as well. That's working as well. The switch play passes too. I think that's starting to come off now. That it came from one of the Alfie May goal that did. I think it was
Mm.
Bielik who put Laird across, wasn't it? And he took it down and made the best of it. Um,
Yeah.
so I think like we'll start to see things really coming into shape now. I'm quite optimistic for the game against Leyton. I don't know whether you are.
Because yeah, talking about Leonard, I think he's absolutely perfect for the system, isn't he? He's
Mm.
someone that is just so composed on the ball and perfect for it because of I guess the upbringing he's had in the Brighton academy. Because we know what Brighton
Yes.
do with the ball and how they coach their teams to be comfortable on the ball, and I feel like we really see that with Leonard with what he's learned from his younger days. And he's already played in League One for Northampton, and he's just looks really composed in there. That's just the main word I keep on coming back to. And you look
Mm.
back to last season, we just wouldn't have had the personnel to do what we're doing right now. And I think that's so important about what we've gone through in the transition with letting certain midfielders go and bringing in certain midfielders that are just more comfortable with playing with the ball at their
Mm.
feet. And I know, obviously, professional footballers, you should be comfortable playing with the ball at your feet, but really comfortable with under pressure
Yeah.
moments and playing in
Yeah. Yeah.
patterns with the triangles and everything. And the way we get out of presses, it's just so refreshing to see from a Birmingham team.
So what are we going for? Score prediction? Are we going to get another win, another one on the bounce?
Uh, well, I'd love to say yes. Still
You're a
think we'll
bit pessimistic,
concede.
are you, Sam?
No,
Oh, you
because
still think we'll
I just
concede?
think
Yeah.
I think we'll concede. I don't know this whole thing about I guess because you think about the two games that we've had in the league, how many saves has Peacock Farrell actually made? Like it's a strange
Um.
one, isn't it? Because he's come up with
Yeah.
crosses and everything, but when you look at the stats, it's not really his fault because I mean the goals we've conceded he couldn't really get to. But what I'm
Mm.
kind of saying is that the chances that these teams get against us, they tend to score from them, don't they? But I'm
Yeah.
going to go over Blues win. I'll go 2-1, still pretty close, but with them scoring a goal and then us just overpowering them with what we've said before about the
Yeah. True.
patience in passing and the quality we've
Yeah.
got going forward. So that's what I'm hoping will get us across the line. But I still think this team's got a long way to go, but that's a good thing because of how
Mm.
we started and the fact we've progressed to the next round of the cup and also got 4 points in the league. So we're still doing decent, but I still think we've got a long way to go to where we actually can, batter teams in the way that people thought we would in League One. So there's still longevity to go, and I feel that the fans are going to be patient with Chris Davies, and it's great to see us like singing his name after the Wycombe game. And I feel
Oh
like the
yeah.
fans have really bought into what he's doing with everything that happened in pre-season, the positive results there, and the start we've had to the season. And we can really see what he's trying to do as well.
Yeah, just before I give my prediction, actually, I want to touch on that because that was a fantastic moment. That was it. Perfectly rounded off what, that moment was like 10 times better than anything under Rooney last season because he didn't give us any of that acknowledgement last season. There was like, you couldn't even get a clap out of him half the time, like just coming over to us and trying to acknowledge us. I thought, with his first game against Middlesbrough, like the first thing he would do was come over to us and have a bit of a clap and everything, sort of be like, I'm the new manager now. Like none of that. But then Davis comes in, first proper away game and everything, first real sight of seeing the fans away and everything. A really good day, really happy day, and he just gave it everything. I love the I mean, Steve Cooper did it, but I'm sure managers did it before him. But like all the proper the arms up and everything, the
Yeah,
Bielik as
yeah.
well running across. Yeah, like, it just perfectly captured like a great day, really, of like where we'd won. We're feeling better. We've had like some terrible times in the last couple of seasons, so like just to have like one little moment towards the start of the season where everything's feeling good, it builds for a nice season, and it gets the fans on side. And I've been saying this for a while as well. Like there is no better team than when there's for fans when the Blues are doing well because we are the best football fans in the world. Honestly, we're as joyous as anything. We're as happy as anything. And that I feel like my vlog sort of like showed like that the fans were just like they were loving singing. They were loving being Blues again. That was like a perfect thing because I feel like going into the Orient game, the fans are just going to be as pumped for that the end of the game as there will be for the start of the Leyton Orient game. But I think we'll win as well. I think you're right. I think we will concede again because I feel like it's just sort of that sort of feeling out process towards the start of the season. Actually, I'll do it two ways. I think the way I would like it to go for us to win 3-1 and for them to get that late goal towards the end, because it might just be a little bit of exhaustion for us or whatever, a little bit of tired fatigue. But I think we can dominate the game, as particularly in moments as well. But the way I think it might go is a bit similar to the Wycombe game. I think we might go a goal down again. I don't know why, but I feel like that's just kind of how it is a bit at the moment. If we can show that we can win quite comfortably and being the lead, we can take the lead as well, like the first goal in the game, and then go on to win it quite comfortably. I think that's the next step we need to take. However early on that might be, I'm not entirely sure. But the way I can see it going is a bit like the Wycombe game. So I will go like a 3-1 Blues or a 3-2 Blues, very similar to the game. But I don't know, it might just be early season nerves, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. And I suppose the main thing from the Reading game and also the Wycombe game, where we did concede a goal and then come back to get something, it's character, isn't it? Even if it's the early stages of the season. I mean, you think about previous seasons in the Championship where we've gone a goal behind, and then you immediately just think to yourself, right, we're not going to get anything from this. Because I'm sure we've had it loads of times, haven't we, in the Championship, where we fell a goal behind, and from that moment, it was a real uphill battle to get something, let alone a win. And although it's only Wycombe, it's still the players buying into what the manager wants to do and sticking to the principles as well. Because I think that's what Luke Harris said to the club media in his interview afterwards, that we just kept on doing what we're doing, staying calm, believing in what threat we're posing, and just sticking to the plan, because we know that if we play our best game, we can beat anybody in this league. And that's the way we've got to think. And that's the mentality that we've got to carry forward, that if we play the way that we do on our day, dominate possession, create loads of chances, we'll get goals and ultimately win games.
Yeah, that's the right mentality, in my opinion, too. You know, you should go into these games and thinking you're going to
not worry
win.
too much about the other team. Stick to what we're good at,
Because I remember, like, particularly in Gary Monk's season, like, for as much as I love Gary Monk as a Blues manager and everything, but I knew as soon as we went a goal down, then that was it. We would lose, because we very rarely came back from a goal that season to win the game. And I think we've shown a bit of character over the last few seasons, but this season, though, it's like a good chance to sort of like write all that history out of the blue sort of mentality, because there's so many different players. We've got such a different setup. We've got completely different owners that we have from the last seasons before Knighthead were here. Like the club is different now, so we should be thinking differently. I think like that's the absolute right way of going forward about it. Just thinking about yourselves, prioritizing what you're going to do in the game, and just doing the best that you can. I feel like with the way that we're going at the moment as well, with the way that football we're playing as well, it's just I can't see it failing. Don't haunt me, Blues, because that's going to come back and bite me, that is. But yeah, that's all I can really think of, really. It's the right mentality to have. It's the correct mentality to get out of a very tricky division and into an even tougher division, So, like, it's a long project, as they say. That's their sort of favourite buzzword to use, the Blues, really, the word project. But it's the right word to use because it's not just a one-season goal, really. It's not like we have a goal this season and get back into the Championship. But then if we do that, we can't then just be like, all right, well, let's just pack up shop a little bit and let's just chill for this season, because we might just go straight back down and then you have to start the project whole again. It kind of is a little bit of an uphill battle at times, though, because teams are going to be studying the hell out of us because they want to be beating us, and Reading nearly had their chance and Wycombe had their lead, but we've got to show that resilience, and we did on Saturday, and hopefully that resilience will then turn into confidence so we can really just go and put it on teams, because the fans will be buzzing after that, and you can see how good we are with one win. Keep those going on the bounce. We'll just be like the happiest fans in the world, I tell you.
That win was amazing, wasn't it? Like, because for me, the last 8 Birmingham away games I've been to, I've not seen a win. I've not seen a win. So
and you don't go to many away games as well,
because the ones I go to is like near where I live, so like the sort of Hertfordshire, London, or whatever, and it's like Brentford, QPR, Watford. I went to Ipswich away a few years ago. All different ones around where I live, Millwall, and just not seeing us win. So to actually go to the away game, see us win, see the fans in good spirits, it was just great to see, and hopefully a sign of things to come.
Well, hopefully it is a sign of things to come. If you do like this new style of podcast that we're going to try out, be sure to leave a like and let us know in the comments down below. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed. A little bit of a shorter episode, but we'll be back very soon for another roundup episode of this. I haven't come up with a name just yet, so I imagine it's up here on the screen right now. If it hasn't, then you can blame me because I can't think of anything entertaining enough. But yeah, thank you for joining me, Sam. Really nice to speak to you about the game. And yeah, keep right on.
Keep right on.